The Against All Odds podcast, sponsored by Oak Forest Recovery.
Welcome to the Against All Odds podcast. I am your host, Rachel, and we have co-host RJ, and we got my boy Johnny Schrey in the building today.
Yes. What up, Johnny?
We got sober together, kind of.
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, it laid the groundwork for sure. For me.
Yeah.
Like going to meet. I remember I was thinking, of course, he started replaying everything.
Yeah.
Like picking you up at the Oxford house. And like Kiko, was that his name?
Yes.
He's still on my I should know. I do know his Kiko. He's
shout
been
out to,
so
we have the
supportive.
same sober date.
Really?
Yeah, me and him.
So supportive of like my journey and everything, you know, and I haven't seen him in 6 years.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
But yeah, that laid the ground. I mean, I put like 10 months together then, you know.
And we had that early sobriety when it's so fun. We were going to 10:30 meetings.
Yeah,
we were just talking about that.
10:30.
Yeah, you know how like you get sober that early sobriety.
For
You're like,
sure.
I'm gonna go to the cool, like the midnight. Remember the midnight meeting at the station? Was it midnight?
Yes, at
Dude,
the
that's
station.
insane.
I forgot the name of that place.
That's insane. We
literally drive through Cracktown to get to the midnight meeting. And I'm sure most people get like that were going to that meeting would probably get stuck before they get to the meeting. But I always, when I go back to Austin, try and go to that 10. I'm like, I'm going to go to 10:30. I think I even asked you if you wanted to go once. So I'm like, and I could never stay up.
Dude,
I
couldn't. Yeah, I'm lucky if I could go to a noon meeting is like the latest that I can do these days. To be honest,
I don't know about that, but yeah,
I'm one of the old heads now, I guess.
There's such dope recovery in Austin, though.
Oh yeah, there is.
It's like
that's why I
it's so
stayed there.
dope.
That's why you stayed for a bit.
I stayed
too,
for a
you
while.
know.
Yeah.
Where are you now?
Now I'm in South Florida.
Oh, okay.
So, but I went straight from Austin to New York, back to Albany, or up to Albany, where my kid was.
Yeah.
And her mom. Yeah.
That's where you're from?
No, I'm from Florida.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning. Let's run it back. Run it all the way back.
Yeah.
I'm from South Florida.
Okay.
Born and raised, Boca Raton, Florida. And so yeah, I mean, my childhood, if that's what we're gonna go with.
Yeah. Start from the beginning, man.
I grew up with, with my mom and dad, two brothers.
Oldest?
Huh?
Are you the oldest?
No. So my dad had a previous marriage, so they were a lot older, 15 and 13 years older.
Okay, got it.
So
you were kind of like an only child almost.
Yeah, most people that know me are like, they can tell I'm an only child. You know what I mean? But yeah, so early 80s, I was born in 81. And I've shared this a million times, but I saw what drugs do to a family from like my first memories. My brothers were strung out. Crack was popping in South Florida. And they both, I didn't understand drugs or alcohol, whatever the case may be.
You knew something was wrong.
I knew something was wrong. I mean, it tore my family apart. My mom and I moved out of the house when I was like 4 to like 6 or something like that, and lived in like a little 1-bedroom because of the fighting that went on in my house.
Got it.
Which I didn't even. You kind of like, as you go through sobriety or, you go through your life, like you start to realize how fucked up it was. But the thing that I don't even like talking about, my childhood had so much love. My mom and dad, like my dad would be over to like the house, like playing baseball with me out front or whatever. My brothers both loved the shit out of me. You know what I mean? Like it was not, so I had that, but like I just had a very clear view of what.
Right. There was love, but there was chaos.
Yeah. What chaos looked like because of drugs and alcohol. And in my mind, back in my mind, I was like, I'll never do that. Like brothers were larger than life and like looked up to them and played sports and all that, wanted to be like them. But like also it was like, I'll never be like them.
Yeah. Right.
As if I had a choice, right?
Yeah. If only it was that easy.
Yeah.
I was the same way, man.
Really?
Yeah. I was very against drugs and alcohol. I was the last one.
Yeah, we all were at a certain point, and then something switches,
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, it was just, I love them.
Yeah.
That's why I can't do them.
Yeah.
For
like,
sure.
I'm not one of those people and people are like, you shouldn't say that. Like, I love the effect produced by alcohol.
100%,
and then I love the effect produced by, as I progressed. And so that was the thing with me is like, as I got older, I learned what my brothers were doing, and my one brother smoking crack. Well, I just never do, or doing cocaine as I learned what the drugs were. And I just would like stay one tier below them. And I would always feel like I wasn't.
I'm better than you.
Like I'm not them.
Yeah.
And then my brother's shooting heroin, so I can do pretty much anything but shoot heroin. And I didn't for a long time.
Where did it start?
For me?
Yeah.
I mean, drinking started real early at my like aunt and uncle's house for like holiday party. They had they had money and they had a cool bar.
Yeah.
And like maybe 12, 13, we were, we pouring water in their booze when they go to sleep and shit like that. And that was it for a long time. I smoked weed in middle school. Didn't really like smoking weed, so that wasn't a problem. But again, like I didn't try cocaine till I was 21. You know, because my brothers, like I really didn't want to turn out like them.
Right.
And tried cocaine for the first time when my jaw was broken. Like I hadn't like sitting like this. And, we were at a party and our buddy Santi and I we said we would try it together. Right. And we're like, we'll only do it together. You know, like when I was away
like
at
a
school.
Bonding experience.
Yeah. When I was away, I'm going to go back to school. Like we won't do it. Of course I tried it, loved it. Went down to like Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
And I'm like talking to girls. Like, like thinking I'm spitting game and having the best night. And I look like a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
And,
but you felt great.
Felt great.
Yeah,
dude,
for sure.
Great night. It was so bad. Like I had like pliers that like in case I was going to throw up, like he knew like to cut my, you know what I mean? So like I wouldn't like choke on my, because I literally.
How did you break your jaw?
Yeah, alcohol.
Okay.
Alcohol and steroids, thinking I was larger than life and got.
Fought some.
Yeah, my cousin someone was fucking with my cousin. There was like 5 kids and I went to school at Florida State for a little while before I, found cocaine. Really. And so, I just thought I could take all of them on and did okay until I didn't. And they dude just stomped on my jaw and shattered it. Yeah.
Fuck.
I got that story, right? Like everything that happened bad in my life, drugs and alcohol was a part of it.
For sure.
It really was.
Right.
I had my nose shattered too. And what was I doing? I was drunk, acting like an asshole in South Beach, And it's just everything that's ever happened in my life that's bad has drugs and alcohol as a part of it.
Right.
But yeah, the cocaine thing. So I go back to school and he goes back to doing what he's doing. And the next weekend, all of a sudden when you start doing cocaine, you notice everyone that's doing cocaine around you. You know what I mean? And so then like I remember like a month later, I came home and I was like, I got to tell him. And I'm like, call him Bono, Santi Bono. I said, hey Bono, I did coke without you. He's like, me too. You know what I mean? Like duh. And that was I was off to the races with the coke thing.
Right. So where did that take you?
Well, really, after I broke my jaw and then when I broke my nose is when opiates came in. And, that's just like, you've heard it a million times. Like, that's really what got a hold of me. I'd already dropped out of school. I dropped out of school at that point, moved home, and just kind of sputtered through. I was selling, like, steel buildings and, partying as much as I could. Like, that's one of the things I found out is, like, I could have $5 and in a weekend and party my ass off, or I could have had like a good sales week where I got like a good paycheck and have the same party. The party never stopped till Monday, when you go back to work. Right. Whether I had $5 or made a commission or didn't. Yeah. And I just kind of sputtered through, man. I had a girlfriend that I was like living at her house, living at my parents' house. I'm 24 years old and like the writing was on the wall. I got a DUI. Of course, like the typical bullshit. Right. And, that's when I got to 25 years old. And my buddy and his little brother was getting out of the Marine Corps. And as simple as that, man. I don't know who said it. It was like, I'll do it if you do it. Like, we should join the Marines. Oh, really? And that was it.
We're like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm skipping through like a couple of arrests and like all the bullshit. But like that's the bread and butter of it. Like, I had nothing going on, and I'm smart enough to know that I got nothing going on, and I also have that in the back of my head, like my brothers, what's going on with them, And I ended up smoking crack with my brother up in New York. He and I got into a big blow up.
When you were like 24 or 25.
Yeah, when I was like 23 at that point. Okay. I ended up trying to kick opiates in New York City and getting arrested with going down, getting popped for possession charges, and then just ran from New York. I'll just never go back to New York. And then one brother who I was, smoking crack with and everything, he ends up getting sober when I leave New York. And I never remember to talk about him because really my other brother is kind of who I gravitated towards after that. Okay. But my brother's got like 20 years of sobriety.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he's been a guiding light for me for a long time. But you always tend to talk about the bad stuff.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm glad I'm remembering to do that. But yeah, so
he got it first.
He got it first.
Yeah.
And then that same year is when I went to the Marine Corps. Got it. And then that kid, Santi, that I had been doing, I did coke with him, but we also tried our first opiate together. We did everything together.
Yeah. Bono.
Bono. He went to NA. Okay. That's where he went. Mario. And I always thought, I'm going to the Marines, he's going to NA. Like, yeah, that's some bullshit. Like, I'm getting my life together. You know what I mean? And boy, was I fucking wrong. The worst place to go for someone in like active addiction and alcoholism is to go to the Marine Corps, where you can hide out and drink with impunity.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Asking for help was one of the greatest choices I've made to overcome my addiction.
If you or a loved one that you know is struggling with addiction, don't hesitate. You can reach out to any of us at any time to find help.
That's literally what I did. I kicked opiates. I was smart enough to try and wean down off blues, right? You know what I mean? Because I'm in South Florida in the early 2000s.
Pill mills, all
they're like
that,
86 cents if you got insurance, a blue. You know what I mean? And even if you don't, they're $10 at that point, $8 to $10. Like, so you didn't feel it financially like you do now.
Roxy's.
Right.
Yeah, good old fucking pure Roxy's, bro. Bro. And make you feel amazing. And again, like I love that feeling. Yeah. And I chase that feeling, you know what I mean? And then I'm 10 pills deep and I can't get that fucking feeling. But anyway, I was smart enough to wean down to when I joined the Marine Corps in like November 2006. I still kicked in boot camp, which everyone's like, oh my God. Oof. Yeah, but dude, like it's like people that have kicked in jail. Like when you know you can't get it,
it's a little bit.
It's a little bit better.
Yeah, you know when you're separated from it and you know, like I'm on Paris Island. You can't. There is no way I can leave this place and get high right now. And it's like it's because this is a mental disease.
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing. I didn't understand that then, but nothing was more apparent than that because I didn't feel. If you're kicking on your couch, like you feel like you're gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
Like I can't. Literally, you can't do it. I could not do it. I can't do it. Like it's not a. I don't care about willpower or bullshit. Like it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I kicked in boot camp, and one thing I learned is like, first of all, like us alcoholics are like, we're driven people. You know what I mean? Like we have discipline. We have, we've been using it for the wrong thing. But
for sure.
I did great in the Marine Corps. My first 4 years, I deployed twice. I got meritoriously promoted. Where'd you Afghanistan twice. Yeah. And but I was still doing. When I would come home, I would do as much coke as I possibly could, and then have 72 hours to fucking drink water, drink water.
Get back,
But like what I learned too, and I think is a big part of this, is like I learned purpose in the Marine Corps.
Right.
And that's why I look back and I'm like, how did I maintain, or how was I able to drink and drug and then turn it off, right? Because like at some point I couldn't turn it off anymore. But when you have purpose in your life, it's crazy that it kind of kept me afloat,
Right. When you had like a tribe of guys, right?
Yes. That's the other thing, the fellowship.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of guys in the military.
Yeah. In the military, you're forced to be in the center.
You're forced, right?
It's just like, you got to be in the center.
But, and you start to, like, you don't even understand what you're doing. Like, I don't understand fellowship at that point, but like, man, you hear the brotherhood and things like that.
For
like
sure.
Protecting the guy to the left and the right of you.
Yeah.
But boy, do I use that now in recovery, when I'm talking to guys. And it's the same concept. It's the same concept. But
so what years did you go on deployment?
So I deployed in 2008.
Okay.
That was my first deployment. I got injured in 2010, but 2008 was one of the rougher ones. And I was thinking like, should I talk about this? Should I not? Because like, a lot of guys, and I was listening to some other podcasts, and I think it's important, right? Like, the shit that goes on when you're on deployment, like a lot of guys don't want to talk about. They don't think other people deserve to hear it.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, like,
why is that, you think?
I think it's like you don't understand, like you won't get it, like they like, or it's like they think that it's not supposed to be talked about. Like there's weakness involved. I don't really know.
Got it.
I just know that it's kind of like you don't talk about that stuff, and I think it's important to talk about, and so I'll tell you, like the one thing, and I've done a lot of work, right? Like we start working on ourselves, like, and I start working 12 steps and like things that come out of this, and I get, I go to therapy still, but I started to realize that like, and I still deal with death, and I think those of us in recovery too, like we had so many people die, like even you and I having known each other for a couple of years, like we know so many people like, that are just died, like we become numb to that.
For sure.
And I think it's kind of elevated when I was overseas, and I always talk about this one circumstance where I swept for IEDs, right? Like that was my job. I was a combat engineer. And so we breached, did like blew holes in walls, blew holes in doors, and like so the infantry could assault. And then we swept for IEDs.
Okay. With
a metal detector. Right. So like, there was one I think when I made that switch, right? Like when that switch got turned off, that emotional switch of like, you know, like life and death didn't really didn't really mean anything anymore. And like human life, like when someone died, like
everything just became operational.
It became operational. It became like, and that's when they started talking about being like a robot. Like you became a robot. And I think it's no one taught me to do that. No one taught us. I don't want to say me. Like I think this is
it's a big human condition.
Survival at that point.
Because when I'm sweeping for IDs and I got guys behind me, and like there was this guy, kid Wilson, who again, I used to never say his name because I didn't know if it was appropriate, but his mom's on my Facebook and comments on my stuff. So I'm like, I know I can, like, we should be saying these people's names, like it's memories, you know? Right. And so Wilson was passing away. And so I was bringing Corman over to him to get him loaded up, but you still couldn't run around because of these, I implemented explosive devices, like mine, like homemade mines, right? Yeah. Like we didn't know where they were. And so my job is to get you from point A to point B. Safely.
Right.
And I remember like we were getting ready to go, and we had to bring a Polis litter over to load him up, which is like a stretcher that you can pull out, you know? And that was like the point when like it didn't matter if this, like, because when this kid did end up passing away, Wilson did die. Yeah. But we had like a 5-hour mission ahead of us. And if I'm thinking about this young man and really thinking about this human and then you start thinking about his mom and these other things. Like if you think about that while you're sweeping for IEDs, like you could get 3 people behind you killed. Exactly. And yourself, obviously. But you don't even, that's kind of secondary to everyone else.
Yeah. For sure.
And I think that moment is what a lot of guys, I'll just say I know a lot of, because I work in this field now, is what a lot of guys have not been able to recoup, right? Or not been able to get back. Like, how do I turn that flip back on? How do I start feeling emotion again? And to me, the answer to that is like life or death. It was life or death why we turned that fucking switch off. It's now life or death that we turn that switch back on.
Come on.
You know? I mean, it's deep. And it was for me because like that switch gets turned off, and you know, I had a baby girl, as you know, and this is again like why we connected. I think too, like we were both trying to get our kids back. Yeah, you know, not to jump around, but like my daughter was born, right? Like moving forward a couple years, right? Like I ended up getting married, to an amazing woman, right? Like I'd known for 10 years.
And you're functional. What's the deal with your addiction at this point?
When I'm overseas, so. You know, and I heard Livingston talk about like people send you alcohol or send you drugs. Like even my mom would send me Jack Daniels in a Listerine bottle. Yeah, you know, like she would. So like, but again, like in that type of environment, that kinetic environment, like I would never think about drinking when I knew I had a mission. Right. You know, but whenever the mission was over, like it was like you know whatever. Hey, who's got what? You know, whatever. Yeah. So I think my purpose was superseding my disease. Yeah. I think it's superseding my disease right now. You know, I think all of us are. Yeah. But like, so my disease was ready and willing to like take over. But like that sense of purpose, when you're literally have, you know, people to the left and right of you that like, you can't be intoxicated. You can't be slow. My buddy Tovez, like the first person I close to me that died in that deployment, you know, he was the same. He was out one of us, you know what I mean? And only he and I really knew that. And this one I may not talk about, but his parents are so far removed. And Tovez, you know, he was dabbling while we were deployed, you know, while we were over there. And, you know, who knows, you know, what happened. But he ended up passing away, stepping on an IED. And that's what happens, you know, if you like, I can't imagine doing that. Right. Like on my second deployment, and I would have to be careful with this, but like I was able to get like morphine, right? Intramuscular morphine. Right. And I had access to that while I was, you know, but I would never in a million years, even though I'm a full-blown, like I'm a proven bottom barrel drug addict.
Can confirm.
But it doesn't even but it doesn't even like cross your mind when you're in that. And I think that's because purpose.
It's such an interesting thing to talk about, this idea of purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
I think, and again, like I preach that to like, so I, you know, what I do now is Haven for Heroes program and everything. And so like I have the ability, like I love, but it's far beyond military or you know what I mean, like veterans. It's all of us. Like that purpose is what you know, and I think that's what the 12 step is. And
For sure.
It's about finding purpose,
Absolutely.
you know? But up until that point, like no one talks about it. Even when I was in the Marine Corps, like no one said like your purpose is to keep everyone to.
Yeah. Of course not. Yeah.
No one ever said that word.
Right. Right. But it's instilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asking for help was one of the greatest choices I've made to overcome my addiction.
If you or a loved one that you know is struggling with addiction, don't hesitate. You can reach out to any of us at any time to find help.
But so to answer your question, my addiction was in full, was right, hadn't gone anywhere. I hadn't done any work on myself, nothing. And then I came home, and the first thing you do when you come home, your mom or whoever has a full, what kind of whiskey do you want? You know, I think it was like Knob Creek because it was 80 proof, or, you know, like, you know, and it's right there on ice when you come home, and you don't even have any time. For me, between my first and second deployment, like again, that purpose, like I didn't have a fall off of purpose. Because we got young men in, you know, that were like my boots, they call them, like privates, you know, and now we're getting ready for another deployment. So that purpose continued. But even then, I ended up failing a drug test because I went home and did Roxy's till I could, you know, until I would nod out. And I pushed it too far. And when I came back, they piss tested me and I popped.
And what happened?
So thank God that I'd just come back from deployment. I had some like little bang ups and stuff like that.
Oh, so you were able to.
Well, I bullshitted it, man. Like, look, my girl, we weren't married at the time, but like, and this is when you know like how smart we are and how good we are. Now, granted, if I had gotten in trouble then, and would it have maybe saved me from a lot of, maybe, but my wife had a broken arm. Well, my girlfriend at the time, a year earlier, and I had remembered it. And I was like, can you get that doctor's note? And she's like, I think so. And I'm like, we need that. Because they brought me in, they started interviewing me. I said, my girlfriend back home had some pills, like because of my shoulder and my neck would bother me so much. I was like afraid to get on the plane to come home. And I popped a bunch of those pills. I didn't even think that they were illegal.
I didn't know.
Yeah, and I hope the colonel never sees this, like, because this guy saved my fucking ass.
And fucking and
so I got the letter from the doctor. My wife got it, you know, from a year earlier, and boom, 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 and they kind of just, we were already getting ready to go on another deployment, and I was literally, because I had deployed and been through so much combat and everything, like I had been given like a real leadership position in the second deployment, which was like lead gun truck, like nav guy. Like I was in charge pretty much of the whole convoys, and that's what we were doing. So like if they lost me, it would have been a pretty big, they'd have had to train someone else. And so they
wanted that doctor's note.
Yes, correct. Like they were not, they weren't looking to get rid of me. So
they were like, give us some, give us some.
You have the note, you know. Like,
did your wife know about your addiction at that point, or?
Dude, so, you know, Paula,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and now it got way worse after the Marine Corps, but like I used to sell like, I don't want to say sell coke, like, you know, like nickel and dime and selling coke like in her apartment. Because the girl I dated that was her roommate, actually. Like her and I were just friends. You know, she was a bartender at the bar I used to go to all the time. So she knew everything about me. Which is why, again, like, when she wanted to marry me, I was like, all right.
You know what you're getting into.
You know, like, boom.
You know exactly what you're getting.
Right. Well, she thought, and but yeah, so then I went on my second deployment. Again, sense of purpose was at an all-time high. Got injured. Like we got in a lot of IED blasts, right? So like my vehicle got blown up twice.
Goddamn.
What was that like?
Very surreal. Very surreal.
Yeah.
All that combat and everything was all surreal. Like I always say, like, have you ever seen, and then life afterwards because of that, like the emotion, like that kind of like, have you ever seen like A Christmas Story, I think it is, where like Scrooge is like flying over his life?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like
so it's
in black
kind of like
and white.
out of body almost, like
Yeah,
something
it's
like that.
Yeah, and it's all muscle memory too when you're over there. So like I can tell you when the vehicle got blown up, I was it blew up under my seat. I didn't know that at the time, but boom. And excuse me, it's like all gray because of all the dust that comes in.
Yeah.
So you don't know what the fuck happened at first.
Yeah.
Literally like you can't see anything. It's all gray.
Can't hear anything.
And
can't see anything.
Nothing.
Bells rung.
And then you're just like instinct kicks in. And since I'm the head of the, you know, I'm in charge of that vehicle, like, and I got my guys in the back of my turret gunner, you immediately like are right to like, are you okay? You don't even know if you're hurt, you know, anything. And I wasn't like, cause I was in a vehicle, thank God. And they're made to blow up, you know? So like the tire blows like 100 yards this way and it's a V-shaped hole. So no matter, it was a pretty big explosion, but it's just basically just rings your bell. It disperses everything. So immediately you just check with your guy, like, hey, like Monty, I can remember it was like yesterday, Monty, you good? And he's like, doesn't know what the fuck happened either. You know? And he's got like, and he sits down in the turret and you're like, is he dead? You know, he slumps down and he's okay. And then you just kind of, then you radio, because then the radio heats up and everyone's like, yo, and you got to say green, green, green. You learn that. So even before you check on yourself, and you're like, green, 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 because it's just the mentality.
Sure. Right.
And we all had pretty bad concussions. But I mean, considering the other shit that we saw, I'll take it all day.
Right.
You know,
for sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's not some weird experience. It's almost, it's just click right in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long? So how long was that deployment? How long are the deployments?
Yeah. So my first deployment was 8 months. Okay. Usually for the Marine Corps, and Army guy, you know, whatever, but like they're more kinetic. There's a little bit, usually you're more, it's more of a stressful thing. So it's not a year. They do 7 months. We got extended to 8 months. Mm-hmm. And then my second deployment was 7 months.
Got it.
Yeah. Both in the same area of southern Afghanistan. Got it. Helmand province. Yeah. Pretty wild place.
Yeah.
Especially at that time too, right?
Yeah, because when is this exactly?
2008, first time the Marine Corps went back into Afghanistan.
Right.
Yeah.
We were actually training to go to Iraq to kind of guard a dam or something, because the war had been slowing down. And then they decided to make one big push in Afghanistan. And so when we were on pre-deployment leave, they switched us. And then they sent my unit back in 2010 because we knew the AO, we knew the area of operation. And so that was a weird kind of thing, because you kind of learn right then that like, this is like, and this is not political, right? But like, I know why we went over there. I'm not one of those people who's like mad that we went over there. Like we did our job. Like I signed the fucking contract. Like that's what we do. Right. You know, we go where they tell us to go, and you don't ask questions. And, but you see, like when I went to a town called Nowzad, right? And the Taliban had taken over Nowzad. And then when I went back and we kicked them out of there. And then when I went back on my second deployment, they had like migrated to these other towns. And you see that these people, this is just life to them. Like this is us going over there, and this is a huge deal for us. You know what I mean? For me to go on an 8-month deployment, leave my family and everything. For these people, it's just life. Yeah. They've been doing this since Genghis Khan. Right. And it was like, you can't win that kind of war. You know what I mean? Like, and they'll put their kid out there. You know what I mean? Like they're like, yo, go put that there. Yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah. You
know, or even if it's not their kid, like I'm not taking anyone's kid and telling them to go do something, or I'm going to kill their mom, you know? Right. And that's just that. And I'm not saying it, I don't even have anything against those, like, no, it's just the life. Taliban or the Afghanis. Yeah, it's just life, man. Yeah, and it's sad. Right. You know, like, I got pictures of, like, you know, we started being able to build schools, you know, not we, but like whoever, you know, the United Way or whatever was building these schools, and these kids, like, you give them a pen, and it was like you gave us $100,000. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, like they don't know. Yeah. You know, their illiteracy rate's like 90%.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy. You know? Yeah. So it was a wild experience. I bet it was. And it did, you know, now I can admit it, and because I think other people need to admit it, it did affect me. Mm-hmm. You know, you come back and you just, you know, that false bravado kicks in, and now I'm like, my ego is, because I actually, you know, a lot of people that go, like, they don't go to combat, or they don't see that much combat. When now you think you're tough, like, and you can withstand anything. Right. And for the most part you can, right? Except yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I came back, got married, had my daughter. Now, when I came back, I was non-deployable because of the concussions. Okay. So I had re-enlisted. My wife and I decided we should re-enlist, you know, because I would have came back and got out right away. So that's where purpose started going down. I was no longer deployable. That, like, life or death, or training the young man to your right and your left to survive, or how to sweep with it, it's all gone. And in like that. And now I'm put back at Parris Island, and I'm behind a desk at the rifle range, and there's still alcohol, you know what I mean? And so, everything starts picking back up. Drinking every day. And again, it's nothing to drink a fifth of like Black Velvet, you know, the $12, you know, whiskey. It's a lot of, almost everyone does. You know what I mean? But then I started seeing, my wife went and got a job at a restaurant, and I see the kid with his eyes pinned.
Oh.
And I'll never forget it. His name's Cody. I'll never forget it. I said, I know that feeling. And I'm like, yo, what's up? I'm like, hey. And I was hanging out in the restaurant all the time. And I asked him, and sure enough, he did. He got blues, right? And that's when that started picking up.
Asking for help was one of the greatest choices I've made to overcome my addiction.
If you or a loved one that you know is struggling with addiction, don't hesitate. You can reach out to any of us at any time to find help. Right.
And now I'm trying to avoid drug tests again. And I spent literally 4 years doing that.
Wow.
And what I would do is, because they didn't test for Suboxone back then, so I would do Suboxone all week.
God,
and I would fucking get rocked on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah. And go back on the subs. Yeah.
And back on the subs, dude.
It was such a job to be doing shit like that. I remember the certain days when I was in all these IOPs or, you know, whatever. I had drug tests coming up for this or this. And like, okay, I can use, if this 7 days a week, I can use these 2 days and then I'll have 3 days here. It's like figuring all that out and then obsessing while you're doing the subs or whatever else you're doing, just like focusing on when you can fucking get high again.
The sub sucks.
It was so much, fucking sucks.
I'm just doing a sub so I don't have to shit my brains out.
So we're not dying. That's it.
That's
we're being miserable.
And that was it, man. And I was hiding it from my wife, and then she gets pregnant, which we have been trying to for years. And I'm like, fuck, I can't stop now.
Yeah.
You know, I can't tell her I need help now.
Right.
And that whole cycle starts, you know. And my daughter's born, and I went through these, like, all these lines in the sand. When I see the fucking sonogram, I see the heartbeat, I'm gonna stop, you know. And still thinking, because I still don't really know what I got, you know. I still think I can control this shit, and of course I don't. And my daughter gets born, and we were supposed to have twins, and you know, 22 weeks, the boy, I don't know if I've ever told you this, the boy's heart, you know, she was pregnant with twins. We had done in vitro to have these kids. You know, we've been trying for years, and the boy's heart doesn't stop, stops flickering, right? So now my wife has to go full term with my daughter, who's healthy, and give birth to a stillborn. And so in my mind, I'm like, I can't stop now. I have to be there to support her. You know what I mean? And it's now becomes the mission again. You know, and so my daughter's born, and she has to push out that stillborn, and you know. And her and I still haven't even come to really,
that's
you
really
know, I don't know if we've talked about it and everything, but like that was very traumatic for her. And I was not there for her emotionally. Right. My thought was get my daughter to her, you know, skin to skin, and get rid of they're like, do you want pictures? I don't know, whatever. I'm like, get that, you know, and in my mind, like, and so what happened then? Like, I don't even get to experience the birth of my daughter,
for sure.
You know, and I was in complete mission accomplishment mode, which was like worry about everyone else, but you know what I mean? And that lasted a long time too, because I had a lot of shame around that, you know, because I had boys tell me like, when you have your first daughter, like it's going to change your life. You know, wait do you hold that little girl, and like, I didn't feel any of that. But I felt shame for that. You know, I felt a lot of shame, and that shame, of course, translates into what? Like numbing it. For sure. So I get out of the Marine Corps, and I'm fully blown, strung out on any type of opiate I can find. I found.
Are you doing heroin at this point? Or still just pills?
Once in a while, if he only had some heroin, I would snort it. You know, I had no problem doing heroin since I would get it in the Lower East Side back in the day. You know, whatever would get me there. And heroin was cheaper because pills are now more expensive.
Right.
But I'm not shooting anything because my brother shot dope. That's, you know, like,
that's your limit.
I'm not gonna do that. You know. And you know, fast forward, I got out in 2015, like January, and you know, we bought a little house. I had my daughter was like 9 months old, and
so you're still kind of functioning. You're like, not really, but like kind of
holding on by literally by like my pinky finger, you know. And I get a job, and
did she know at this time? Like, did she have suspicions?
So she knew at the end.
It was like,
because what happened is I failed. You know, I was trying to. There's so much shit. I failed a drug test at the very end. Again, because of my combat. right? Thank God for that. Like, well, I say thank God. Who knows? Again, I avoid consequences. I said, look, I'm getting out.
It helped you get out.
It helped me get out with an honorable discharge. Right. All my disability, all that, which now
for sure, thank God,
great
for sure.
So she had to know because I lost rank, so my paycheck was smaller. So now I had to tell her. I said, look, I failed this, and I went away to a treatment at that point when I was still in the Marine Corps. Didn't my last day out, I was like, my daughter was like 3 months old. I went away to treatment because I knew I had to, or I'd get in trouble.
Right.
The day I get out, I call the kid from in the trailer park. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be home in 4 hours.
What did they send you to, like a military treatment center?
It was I know it now. I work with it. It was like a UHS facility called Emerald Coast Behavioral, due to lockdown facility for PTSD and substance abuse. Did nothing there. Right. They brought in an HNI or whatever, which I thought was cool because I got to like leave the fucking
It's like a 4-week thing, right?
Yeah,
like
28 days.
Go
28
in,
days.
get
Check
out,
the box.
check the box, right?
Yeah. And I got my honorable discharge, everything. But my wife knows at this point. But she doesn't know, again, to the extent. So anyway, and then I get out and now I'm kind of free to do what I want. Going home is like the most scary, like that calm, peaceful house, you know. And I love my wife and I love my daughter, but I have no emotion towards her. So I can't go back home. Right. It's so uncomfortable that I just want to run. And so inevitably that's what I did. I never went home. I hit the streets. Wow. And I lived homeless for the next skipping a bunch of bullshit, but for the next 3-4 years, I lived within 4 miles of that house. Wow. And went to treatment 12 times, did the rehab romances, which pushed my wife even further away because I thought she understood me, right?
Yeah.
Like she gets me.
She gets me.
My wife doesn't.
My wife hates me. You know what I mean? Like that's over, And the only woman I ever did anything, the only woman that really loved me and she still loved me and I shit all over her, and more guilt and shame. Don't see my kid for like 2 years. And so I get a chance to go to Austin, and now fentanyl's around because we're in 16, 17. Right. So I'm just dying because I'm just doing whatever I can to not feel. For sure. Like a piece of shit. And so now I'm just dying, and waking up in hospitals, AMAing, the whole deal that we all.
How did it come about that you came to Austin specifically?
Yeah, so that dude Lane, remember that dude Lane?
Lane with the beard and stuff.
Lane with the blonde hair, the old guy. And he had that blonde wife.
Yeah,
anyways, they lived in Miami part-time and Austin part-time. And I heard him speak and he had this crazy way of speaking. I was like, I need, because I'm a big ego. I'm like, that crazy motherfucker, he'll get me. Yeah. But he did. He got me out to Solstice. And I went to Solstice Recovery, which is
So you were willing, like you wanted help if you were going to meetings.
At that point, it was I was in treatment for 120-day treatment. Okay. And so I got a sponsor, and sponsor ends up knowing my brother that got sober. And in 2017, a big part of this is the brother that I never wanted to be like, Jeff. I ended up living in a place called Camilla's House, which is a shelter in Overtown with my brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow. And then in 2017, I overdosed. He watches me get taken out on the stretcher, and I see him one more time before that. He overdosed and died.
God,
yeah. So at that point, I'm like,
fuck.
Well, I remember it was weird. I was coming out of an overdose and everything. I remember seeing my brother pull up, and I had blood on me because I had to crack my, my teeth.
Right.
And I remember somehow in my mind, even though when you come out of Narcan, your brain, and I remember thinking oh, now he knows I'm not only like him, I'm worse than him. Now he knows what I've been feeling for 30 years, And I saw him one more time, and he died.
God damn.
And that just gave me I was like, if he can't do it, he's still larger than life to me. I'm never gonna do it. So I was in a hotel. I remember it was yesterday, and I had no money. Of course I was if I had money, I wouldn't have even made the phone call. Somehow I got on the phone with him, Lane. And he's like, look, I can talk your parents into getting you a flight to Austin, Texas. And I had okay. I'll do it. But I always wanted to, in the back of your mind, you always want to. You just at that point, after all,
you want something to work,
right?
Yeah, but at that point, you don't even believe. You have no hope.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why, the room still give me. That's where I got it. I think I had a little. My brother who stayed sober. Even though I didn't even know it consciously, he gave me that hope.
Yeah.
Right.
So I went out to Austin, Texas, and went to Solstice, which was perfect for me. It was like this. last house on the block type spot. Everything was scholarship, or, you know, like it was like, there was no real therapist, but I found fellowship there. Yeah. We were called the worst boys. She knows. Like everyone hated us and that. Like all the other treatment centers hated us. Yeah, she did because she was cool, you know. And yeah, we like, and that was, you know what else was cool too about you and I, like we never, like, there was no romantic thing. You know, we were always just cool. Like I was trying to like out with her roommate or whatever. Yeah, you know what I mean? And she helped the girl that I was dating, Leah, you know, and
asking for help was one of the greatest choices I've made to overcome my addiction.
If you or a loved one that you know is struggling with addiction, don't hesitate. You can reach out to any of us at any time to find help.
that was always cool. I always thought that about us. Like we never had that bullshit involved. Like she was dating some dude. I won't say his name.
Man. Yeah, we both went through.
We thought we questioned why he was dating her. Like long story, but but I found a fellowship there, you know, and I dove like face first into the work. I did, and I put 10 months together. I couldn't put any time together.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, we used to go to do H&Is and we were really like in it. We were on fire.
And I loved it. Yeah. I loved it, man. The first time I felt esteemable acts, right? They talk about, and we were like doing good, you know, and I was starting to talk to my daughter on FaceTime and so that's how they ended up in New York though. Like when I was running around overdosing and stuff and I would try and break into the house to steal shit from my, you know, my kid's mom and shit. Yeah, right. So she's like, hey, I'm taking my kid. I need you to sign this. Yeah. So I'm taking her to New York. And again, I love them, man. Like, where do I sign? I know I'm not coming back. Yeah. Go do what you got to do. Because if you're here, I'm going to tear it down. Yeah, you know? Right. Like I know who I am at this point. Right. And so she went back to New York and I put that 10 months together and, you know, she didn't know that I relapsed for that. I relapsed for 3 months. And it was horrible. Yeah. So bad.
How did that happen?
I went home to visit.
Okay.
I went back to Florida.
Okay.
But it's weird because it was the second time I had gone home. First time, but I was still.
I think I remember being a little worried about you. Yeah. When one of the times you were going
Probably
home.
The second time.
Yeah.
And I went back and I think I had, I had got a lot of ego because I was doing so much service and everything. And, you know, I think I'm probably, back on sauce and juice and you know what I mean? Yeah. I was feeling good about myself but now too good about myself. And things start to, I'm good at getting things back when I actually put my mind to it, like most of us. Yeah. And I stopped doing the work. Right. So I relapsed for 3 months. Paula didn't know about my ex-wife didn't know about it. And so I continued to grow and I was just FaceTiming my daughter. So I kept that going. So now when I finally get sober again at like 10 months, my ex-wife calls me and she says like, you need to come be a father. Now she thinks I have like almost 2 years. But I do have like almost a year. Right. So I come to this like crossroads. Do I tell her I'm not? So I talk to my sponsor and my therapist and they're like, you're actually doing the right thing. Like you don't want to cause more harm to her. Like if she needs you back there and they, they were the ones who my barometer for and I'm like, all right, I'm doing it. Yeah, right. And at 3 years, I ended up telling her, by the way, like, I'm like, I got to tell you this because I'm sick of celebrating fake fucking anniversaries. Yeah, with you. With you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And in turn, I was like scared to tell someone in AA because it's a small town that I moved up to in New York. And I'm like, someone's going to tell, so I'm living a lie still. And it was eating at me because I'm actually like doing the right thing. For sure. So it was so great to be able to tell those. It's crazy like that.
How did that go? Yeah.
This woman is like, all she ever wanted me to do was come back and
make it a big deal though, right?
Such a big deal. Yeah. It was like nothing. She was like, I was crying. I'm like nervous. I started crying because I feel horrible. I lied to this woman who I had, and she's gonna be like, oh,
you're probably building it up to have this conversation too.
Yes, you're still that piece of shit. She's like, okay. Yeah. I'm like crying. I'm like, Jesus.
So dumb, right?
Yeah, dude. And you know what happened when I went back? She had a boyfriend. And I didn't do what I normally do, which is like try and alpha him. Like my sponsor's like, is he good to your kid? I'm like, yeah, he's actually really good. And he does stuff with my kid that I wouldn't do. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, well, then what's your problem? Like, you mad that I'm like, all right, I get it. So I shook his hand, and he was a good guy. And for like 2 years, you know, I co-parented with my wife, and he was in the mix, but he was very respectful. He would never sleep over, you know, like he was almost too respectful. I was like, what's wrong with this guy? I'm like, and I would tell him like, this isn't gonna last for you. Like, he's too nice. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, what in the fuck? Sure enough, it didn't. You know. And so then my wife and I just co-parented and ended up getting my daughter, you know, every other weekend and every weekend and da-da-da. And then my wife and I ended up getting back together.
Wow.
Yeah. After like 6.5 years of divorce.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
But, you know, the one thing I always tell people is like, you can't be expecting to get back.
No. That can't be the goal. That can't be the aim.
100%.
No, it can't. You
Well,
can't
it's probably
have that
when
motive.
you let it go, and you didn't try to, you know, alpha this dude, and you were just like, okay, and doing the program, things just fall into place like that.
They do. And I'm telling you, like, that's exactly like whenever I try and put my own spin on things, it doesn't go the way it's supposed to.
It never does.
And I even told her like, but like when I think I had like 3-4 years, or I guess like 3.5 years when we got back together. But I had the right to tell her, I said, look, I said, if we do this, like, you have the right to never speak to me again. I've done everything I could wrong to you, you know, but if we do, like, you can't, I don't want to be looking over my shoulder. I don't want you to be looking over your shoulder. Like, this has to be a clean, fresh start, you know, like, because neither of us deserve that. And I've done enough work on myself. And she agreed, man, because that's who she is. She's fucking awesome, obviously, like, you know, obviously, and she hasn't, man. Some people are like, does she like look where you go, or does she ever ask where you're at? I'm like, not once. But she knows, she can tell, she knows the other, you know what I mean? Like, she's now she's not falling that trick twice, you know.
She knows when it's turned on.
So, and then from there it's just been you know, but it's all about faith. This whole thing, like when I went to New York, right? Like, I didn't have money saved, and I'm like, I had to go rent a fucking room. And you know what else? And I didn't have a car. I took the bus for those 10 months. You know what I mean? Like, everyone now like wants to get their car back, you know, and treat me like they want to get this back. Oh, I need to get out and get a job. You know? And I used to do that shit, and it would never. What happened? I'm not getting a job. I'm smoking crack, dude. Like, you know. And I finally just I took the bus, and then I rented a room, you know, in a you know, a shitty fucking like apartment building, and I rented that room, and I just did the next right thing, and I didn't try and like skip steps, not even steps, like not in the 12 steps,
just
like,
in all the steps.
I just didn't. I didn't cheat, you know, and things just start coming back to you. Maybe not in your time,
but
it's wild.
But when it comes back, it stays back.
It stays back.
You know what I mean? Like, that's
point.
the thing about I think skipping rungs in the ladder or fucking finding shortcuts. You always fall back to that same level that you skipped. And when you stop skipping, it stays. It's earned. It's there.
Yeah, because you've like built the foundation. You're not like, it's not like a house of cards. It's just waiting to fucking tumble.
So how long you been sober now?
I've been so March 19th was 6 years.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats, man.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I mean,
incredible.
It's insane. In my life, again, with the faith thing, like, then I came back and so my wife and I weren't back together yet, but I got, so my first job, I went and got an overnight. My first job in Austin too was working overnights for Phoenix House, like an adolescent program. And that really gave me a deeper look into addiction too, man. And like
little babies in there,
seeing these kids, dude. And it's just like, and just knowing the path they're going down, man. And like, you know, and knowing I can't do anything about it. And like, it was tough, you know, because I actually lied about my sobriety date to get that job. They wanted like 2 years or something. And now Meredith who was the executive director, her and I are very close. And so I made an amends. I said I lied to you when I first started. You know, I did check on my sponsor again, you know, and like
she was probably happy to have you there.
Dude, she knew. She's like, I know. She's like, I put it 2 and 2 together because there was like an adolescent. She's like, I knew, but like you were great with the kids. You know, I was like, well, thank you for not, you know, for looking out for the kid, you know, like not just the rules, you know, whatever.
For sure.
And then when I got up there, I worked overnights at like some state facility. Again, got a view of like a state run, you know, New York. It was called Conifer Park. You may have heard of it. Like Arms Acres, Conifer. So it's the Arms Acres and Conifer Park are sister company. This is in Schenectady. Yeah, same thing, but even worse. Like, and I just like saw like, and it's a lot of people out of prison and stuff, and jail are in there, and I'm like, you just like, you're in the trenches, bro. And I learned that I love being in those trenches. Dude, I would bring my fucking big book, you know what I mean, and just do groups in there as a tech. And And then I got an opportunity to work down in Florida for a therapist and the old operations. I went to this one rehab 4 times.
Got it.
And fucking, they had always told me, like, if you get your shit together, like you have something here, which is like the last thing you want to hear though.
Right.
You know, it's like, I know I'm capable. I just did 8 years in the Marine Corps. Like,
right.
you know, like that doesn't make me feel better. But in the back of my mind, you know, I was like, you know, I knew I could do more. Right. And so when I had a year sober, they were like, hey, we have this opportunity in Florida. They were opening a veteran track. And now we want you to come be the liaison. And I'm like, I just got my daughter back. Like, now what am I? So they're like, well, you can, if you want to, you can fly in.
Asking for help was one of the greatest choices I've made to overcome my addiction.
If you or a loved one that you know is struggling with addiction, don't hesitate. You can reach out to any of us at any time to find help.
So I would fly in every Sunday night to Thursday. And then I would get my daughter Thursday evenings, Friday, Saturday, Sunday I would leave again. And I paid my own flight. Again, I don't know why I did this. Like, it was just like, I prayed about it. I talked to some people and they're like, this is what you've always wanted to do, work with vets. And so literally I paid my own flight. So I wasn't making any money. And it's throwing me off. And I would take that flight down there and I would make like $18 an hour or something. Yeah. But man, my cup was full. Yeah. You know, I was working with the vets. And of course, what happened from there? Someone offered me a better position. And then I end up, you know, now I can work from New York and I would travel around and you know, I was doing like more business development for another program. But I was in the facilities helping vets and I was in the VAs, fighting with VAs. And like, it's just continued to get better. Like,
that's fucking dope.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. So what do you do now?
So now I I manage, whatever you want to call it, a program called Haven for Heroes for Haven Health Management, which is, we have like 16 facilities, but mainly like 3 different main spots where like the Haven for Heroes program is, which is Florida, Indiana, and Arkansas. Okay. And I live down in Florida, so I'm much more involved in the Florida facilities.
And it's for vets, right?
Yeah, it's for vets. Now, Haven is like, you know, is all you know, insurances and civilians, but specifically these places have the Haven for Heroes program, which is, it's like perfect. I get to put my like spin on, you know, great. I'm not a clinician or anything, but like I get to give like the real life side of things. Yeah,
for sure.
You know, and I know I've been to 12 different veteran program. You know how it is. Like everyone says they have a fucking VA track, you know, and then I realize it's a mix of both. Like one thing that I make clear is like, first of all, I don't think you should separate veterans all the way from civilians, because I could sit here with another vet and talk about combat till I'm blue in the face, and we're not going to get anything out of it. That's just, it's talking shop. Right. But what I need to learn is how to deal with that 19-year-old punk ass kid that's annoying the shit out of me when I'm sitting in line at the DMV and I just want to pop his fucking head off. Yeah. I don't know how to deal with that. But when I learned to, like,
that's why you need that 19-year-old punk in group.
Boom. Figure it out. And these guys, it's so hard for dudes to wrap their or women to wrap their heads around that. And I'm like, oh, he's annoying you? Hell yeah. I love that. Right. I love that for you. You know, I love that for you, man. Like, that's cool, because guess what? You can't walk away from that kid. You're going to have to see him at the pool, because we have don't forget you're in a pool, you know, when they went to AMA. I'm like, buddy, do you know where I just pulled you out of? Right. And that 19-year-old kid's going to make you go back to that?
Yeah, for sure. It ain't about the kid. It ain't about the 19-year-old, dude.
Yeah. It's like, you don't know how to fucking deal.
Right.
What's really going on with you? You know? And so I think it's important to have veterans helping veterans, but like I got more from a civilian's therapist than I did anyone. Yeah. But you got to mix it in. You know, you can't just put them all by themselves. A healthy mix. And the other thing that I tell civilians is, when that veteran's in front of you and he's a fucking crackhead or a fucking heroin addict or an alcoholic, don't treat him like a veteran. Yeah. Treat
him like a drug addict.
Treat him like a drug addict, because the best thing I would do is if I could talk you into feeling bad for me being a combat vet, and then we're taught to exploit weakness.
100%.
Like oh, I know. Or if Rachel's nice to me, I know I can get whatever, you know, I'm going to get my phone back so I can get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, you have to, because that, and I am, man. And, you know, I'm a fucking decorated Marine. My parents think I'm a hero.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They learned quick not to treat me like that because I exploited the shit out of that.
Yeah.
You know, or I call my old friends
being
and
unique and special, man.
I've been blown up, you know. I've been like, you don't, you know, like, oh man, I'm having nightmares. That's not one thing I suffer. I don't have nightmares.
Yeah.
But I'll fucking tell you I have nightmares, you know? But it's a lesson. It's a fucking important lesson, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to say it. And
It's an honest program.
Listen, I don't know if you saw it. I did a whole message because I'm on all these veteran board. Like I'm on the county board, which is awesome. I'm on the United Ways like veteran board for my county. Like, and I love it, man. It's like, I feel like I made it, you know, like one of us out of the trenches is on this board with lawyers and all this other shit.
No, it's great. Yeah.
But I'm like, I get to see like the people that are asking for money and I'm like, yo, like they're exploiting you for that money, you know? And people have a hard time hearing it. I had a guy who was in my unit be like, how are you telling that veteran to not ask for help? I said, you didn't listen to the whole fucking video.
Yeah.
I said, if you need help, we're the first ones to help you, but stop asking for shit. You have to handle it. You have to do it. Like that's not like you want us to be looked at like held to a higher. And I think when we've been to and we've raised our hand to go do those things, like like we do, we should be looked at with respect. But if you act like that fucking scumbag, like you should be treated like that fucking scumbag.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
no, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah,
for sure.
And some people have a hard time hearing that.
I think the worst thing for a drug addict, man, right, is like we cannot be treated unique or special. That is we cannot.
Right.
Just can't, dude. It's the worst thing you can do for a drug addict.
It's enabling, right? It's enabling
for sure.
And we all know like that's not. It's the same thing. Like, why would it be any different?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and you're in a unique position where you can stand on both sides of that. And you can dispel it. And
I try and tell vets this all the time because the truth of the reality is the truth of the matter is like there's not that many of me, man. There aren't. And I tell vets this all the time. I'm like, you know, and I do need to mention like my two best friends, Zach Picking and Brandon Lay, took their lives because they couldn't say these things out loud about combat, about emotions, about all that. That's why I'm so loud about it. And these are two of the brave. I heard Livingston say this too, like about the one dude. These are the bravest men I know. The one guy, I would have to hold him back because he was in my truck and we had done we were kind of like, we had both done 2 deployments and we were getting into fights because he wanted to just go and go.
And you're like, I haven't fucking sweeped it yet. Bro.
I'm like, brother, get the fuck in the truck. Like and I pull rank. Even though I hate doing that. Yeah. Because he was that much of a, he didn't give a fuck. Yeah. He, courageous, not not stupid. Like he just really wanted to, you know, go. And you know what? The enemy was inside. He didn't know. And he thought he was doing everyone a service by, you know, and that's the way I look at it a lot of times is like, we're taught to close with and destroy the enemy.
That can be turned on yourself so quick.
100%, man.
Right. Yeah.
But like, if you could just learn to talk about it and know that it's okay.
Right.
And I don't know how I got back to that, but like, you know, we got to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's a huge part of the message. When you hold, I think we all know is like when you hold shit inside, especially super traumatic, like life-changing shit, it's going to manifest in one way or another, you know, and usually not in a good way.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're just holding it in there. So
it's why like, like whether you've been through like, especially like, you know, I learned the most about like what was going on with me, like my trauma. She shared about an abusive relationship that she had been. She was very open about it. And I remember sitting in group and like hearing her talk about going home to this abusive husband and not knowing if he was going to beat the shit out of her, if he was going to try and have sex with her, if he was going to just be a normal, like sweet, like, hey, how was your day? And that not knowing, she would like throw up from anticipation of not knowing what to expect, you know? And I remember thinking like, again, I could talk about combat with guys till I'm blue in the face, but like that, hearing her and watching her experience, like made me think of like when I would be sweeping and there was this like wall that we would always go up to and we would take contact from that wall because like the Taliban was right over on the other side. And I remember that same feeling that she had, like, and I hadn't remembered it, was when I was coming up to this and not knowing if they were going to be there to shoot at me, or they weren't, or, you know, or if we should
what was going to happen.
And that like trauma response.
Right.
I would never have thought about that had I not heard that from that woman. So I'm only saying, like, it's not just about veterans or combat. It's about trauma. It's
the human experience.
Human experience and the way we react to things. You know, it's like, it's all the same. And that's why I think with addiction too, right? Like it's not about like the alcohol or the cocaine or the heroin. It's about like what's going on that makes us have to continue to do that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You know? Man, this has been great.
Yeah.
I don't even know how long we've been doing this shit.
It's fucking amazing, man.
I appreciate it.
Really appreciate you coming on, bro.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
What would you tell somebody? I'm sure you have got a pretty good answer for this, but somebody that's
you'd be
watching,
surprised.
But somebody who's watching, who's, you know, maybe a vet who's struggling and, you know, doesn't know what to do, but maybe is going to see a clip of this and maybe watch this episode. What do you think what should he do, man? Who should he reach out to?
Simple. Hit one of you know, Rachel and I speak. She has my number. Like, ask for help, man. And it doesn't even have to be help. Like, just let us know.
Yeah, just talk.
It's that simple.
Tell somebody.
You got to. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, like the VA, you know, and that could be a whole nother fucking episode, you know, about what's going on at the VA. And a lot of people adverse, we call it VA adverse. They don't want to go through the VA. Like, fuck all that.
Yeah.
That's down the road. We got to know.
Right.
We got to know. There's so many, like I said, all these boards that I'm on, they're for nothing if we don't know that something's going on.
Right.
The services are there, and it is hard to navigate. But if they're hearing this, like, when Rachel does, they're like, well, are you struggling? Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, is that veteran still available? Can I get a hold of him? Or if I'm tagged on this?
We'll
for
sure. Stuff,
that's where it starts. Literally, nothing can happen until that happens.
Right.
Because they're in the dark. We're in the dark. We're in the fucking shadows, just like any drug addict is, right? Like,
100%.
Holler at us.
Yeah.
That's it. I think it all starts there with anyone, but specifically veteran. I get the veteran wanting to reach out to, but I get abused woman wanting to reach out. You know what I mean? Like, like-minded or been through the same thing. And we've figured out that it's all the same. But when you're in it, you don't know that.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So reach out. I got you. Like, we'll make it happen.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And I love this. I'm just so honored. I'm honored to be here with you, but like having known what we've been through,
cool, man.
And watching her with her kid and everything, and like
you too,
dude. I know it's I get chills, man. Like people, the coolest thing is like people hitting me up, and I'm like, I got sober with her. Like,
he'll leave like a comment, like shit talking or something on there, and people will be like, why would you they'll take it serious or something? It's like, dude, I've known her for.
She said something about some recovery meeting coming up. I'm like, if they look like you, girl, you know, and somebody just roasts me, and I was like, hey, I respect that. I respect it, but just know, like, I love that girl. Like, we go way back, and she knows. And then the girl was cool, thank God, because then I would have cooked her. You know what I mean? Like, I can only be like, you know, spiritual for so long. But no, sometimes someone will say something to her, and I'm like, and she doesn't respond because I know she's got a million things. But I'm like, should I roast this motherfucker? Like talking, you know, like I know she can take it, but I don't like that.
Yeah, look at it.
Because I know. You know, but I love it. You know, this is like a full circle kind of moment.
I know.
So,
that's right.
Yeah, man. I appreciate what you do.
Yeah, thanks,
man. You know, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, we need more good people.
That's right.
It's a fucking wild. It's a wild industry and a wild game, man.
It is.
Fuck.
It is. Finding the good ones is special.
You gotta hold on to them.
It's special.
So